So you want to read a big book. You picked it up optimistically at the bookstore one day, and it's been sitting on your shelf staring at you for years. Or maybe you have that one friend, they gush about it regularly, they wish they could read it again for the first time. This summer, from July to September, I'm going to be hosting a book club that will help you conquer your FOB, your fear of big books, in order to defeat your FOMO, fear of missing out. We're going to be having a big book support group on Discord where you'll chat about your rants and raves with other readers in spoiler-free and spoilery chats. Also, we're going to have 4 live reading sprints, 2 each month. During these live sprints, you're going to be invited to join me and other readers for some focused reading time and some chill breaks where we'll get to know one another and discuss our thoughts in real time. If you're participating in the Summer is Covered bingo board, it's never too late to join. Just check out the description box for more on that. There is overlap. I want you to be able to see how many times you can get bingo, as well as taking on that one big book. So that's the schedule. That's what's involved. We're also going to be doing some fun Instagram prompts, scavenger hunt style. So I might ask you to post a photo of the space you're reading in or a quote that either you loved or confused you. So that'll be a fun interactive element on social media. Here's the big update. If you prefer to be involved with the Big Book support group here on YouTube, that's totally fine. I consider this area to be my front porch. So we have a porch swing, there's a breeze, there's iced tea sometimes, but the neighborhood might be a little noisy, so it's not the most focused area if we want to really talk. If you want a more cozy space, I'll probably invite you into my living room. And that's where there's always coffee, there's comfier furniture, you're gonna want to stick around a little longer. And that space that I'm talking about is my Patreon. So if you'd like to support my channel in a different way and also get involved in some of the exclusive aspects of the Big Book support group, that membership is going to get you access to those live reading sprints. They will also be posted after they air within Patreon just to keep a little bit of a level of privacy. You're gonna get an exclusive invite to our Big Book support group Discord, where you'll be able to discuss your rants and raves with other readers during the summer. The last benefit of joining the Patreon, which I'm really excited about, is having you involved in the creative process of my videos. So you'll get to pull in on which videos that you think I should make next, give me some good suggestions for books to add to my TBR. So if you're on board for more, please visit the link in the description box below for more information. I'm going to be covering some of the most feared on people's TBRs. And ultimately, I hope that I'll help you decide what big book you want to read this summer. I'm gonna be going in order of page count, so we'll start with the lowest and then we'll work our way up to the hefty chunkers. Coming in at 771 pages is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. First off, if you haven't read Donna Tartt before, I think you're already at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I still respect your courage because a lot of people decide to start with The Secret History, which is kind of the catalyst for the whole dark academia literature craze. I think that this is a perfectly valid pick, and it's on the lighter side for the books that I'm going to be talking about today. At 771 pages, one of the things that I think makes Donna Tartt a little bit more intimidating as a writer is her usage of language. She really does have that academic brain, and you can see it come out in her writing and the choice of words that she uses, but it's also one of the things that I think makes reading her books such an experience because her use of prose, her use of descriptive language to tell you what is happening in a scene is very artistic. So it makes sense that the focal point of this story is a painting because she has a very painterly writing style. If you're used to a fast-paced book like a thriller or horror or even a romance book, to dive into something like The Goldfinch might take a little bit more focus, but I know you can do it. At 817 pages, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Now this is the smaller of the 2 Tolstoy books that I will be mentioning in this video, and it's still not less intimidating. One of the things that I think is more intimidating about Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and other Russian authors is their usage of names. In Russian culture, most people had more than one name. They had their full name, they have several nicknames at times. To add to the confusion, there may also be characters that have the exact same name, so it can be a little hard to keep track. My advice for reading Tolstoy and other Russian authors is to do a Google search of artwork inspired by the novel. Try to get yourself a cast of characters that has portraits of the different people that you're going to be seeing, or even better, if you are okay with spoilers, watch the movie adaptation of one of those novels first so that you kind of have that set list of the cast of characters in your head visually as you're reading. That's going to go a long way toward helping you not feel overwhelmed by all of those names, and you're going to really relax into enjoying the plot, which is what keeps you moving through a big book. Next up at 846 pages is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Now this book may seem large, but it's actually a little bit deceptive because if you got the hardback edition, it's actually even fewer pages than this. It's kind of a paperback pretending to be a big book. The nice thing about it is the text size is not too tiny, which is something that you want to look out for. Some readers have praised this book because it is such a fast read for being such a big book. I still think that's very subjective, but the benefit of this one is that it's set in a fantasy world. It's a historical fantasy, so it ideally should have enough going on there to keep you moving forward. You're not going to have to do a whole lot of research on the history or the verbiage that's used. You're just going to relax into the plot a little bit faster. This one for me is not such a big fear factor, but primarily because of the atmosphere that I believe that this novel is meant to convey. I'm looking forward to picking up during the fall. Last 3 books for this video, and coming in at 1,243 pages is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This one is probably my most recent triumph as far as big books go, and I really enjoyed it. Perfect to read during the summer. I think this one is very cinematic in the way that it's written and the characters and how the story just kind of comes full circle. It really rewards you for the attention that you give it. You get a big payoff from the beginning to the end. The characters' names are not too hard to remember, and even though you kind of know where the plot is going, there are some twists and turns that the story takes that will really keep your attention. 1,304 pages, and that is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. One of the things that people are most afraid about when they pick up this book is the tangential writing. And by that, I mean you're not going to just follow the characters that you're familiar with from the musical, but you're also going to get some nice little essays about the sewers of France. It's interspersed within the story, and it doesn't quite seem to make sense, but you're still in for it. I think you should still pick it up. This one is definitely set within a historical period, and if you want to do some research, that might help you out a little bit. This lovely edition is the Penguin Deluxe Classic Edition, which although it has the dreaded deckled edges, it does have character illustrations all over the cover. My advice for this book would be to also make sure that you check out the audiobook on Libby or another audiobook listening app, so that when you feel a little bit fatigued holding this book and going through some of those more essay-like sections, maybe you can accomplish something else while you're listening, or you can go back to a part that you kind of zoned out, and you'll have a little bit of a better reading experience if you have that option of toggling between audiobook and physical copy. Our last hefty chunk, coming in at a whopping 1,358 pages, is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Now this one is kind of the holy grail of big books in my opinion. It really has made the rounds on YouTube, and for good reason. It's had a very successful mini-series adaptation. As I said before, I would highly recommend that you give that a watch before you give this a read. Watching the mini-series will not only help you develop that cast image in your head, but it will also help you keep the characters straight as you progress through the book. The mini-series is also beautifully done, beautiful music, and top-notch casting in my opinion. Another tip that I can give you is to do a little bit research on which which translators you want to go with. Does it make sense in your mind, or are you going to have to read that paragraph like 5 times to be able to grasp it? That's the type of thing that can really slow you down in your reading and turn you off of that big book. I would recommend looking up the title of the book and then translation comparison to see the paragraphs from each, and you can select one that you feel is the most approachable for you. It's great to pick a translation that you're excited about from the beginning. This one is translated by Anthony Briggs, and I did do some research before I picked this one out for myself. I still am very intimidated to read this one, but it's one that I do not want to miss out on. So those are just a few options for some big books that you might be putting off reading, and some suggestions for how to tackle those this summer. Let me know in the comments, which of these big books are you planning on reading? Is there another one that maybe isn't so high in page count, but still feels intimidating to you personally? Because those are totally on board as well for the Big Book support group. If you'd like to join our Big Book community, we have a support group on Patreon, and you can join for just $5 a month and access exclusive live reading sprints. You can watch those on your own time if you would like. You'll also get access to our Big Book support group Discord, where you can chat your raves and rants with other readers during the summer. My hope is that you will overcome your fear of big books this summer because you're more afraid of missing out on those great reads. Until next time, I will see you in another video soon.